Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be ranking the episodes of the Russell T Davies era of New Doctor Who. This is part 1 because there's going to be 3 parts to this. The next one will be the Stephen Moffat era, and then after that what we have so far of the Chibnall era. By the time that one comes out we'll have the New Year special, so it can be added to the list. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. The next part will be out in the near future, and yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of tiers here because there's a lot of episodes. I'm just going to be using the tiers that they provided. So masterpiece, fantastic, very good, good, watchable, boring, bad, terrible, the worst, and cannot even remember watching. Gonna say there probably won't be anything in that last tier. Yeah, I'm not going to be ranking the episodes within the tiers because there's just too many for that, so I'm just going to be putting them in chronological order in the tier they're in. I'm also going to be keeping multi-part stories together. The first one, obviously, is Rose, which is going in watchable for me. Yeah, as far as first episodes of the series go, obviously it kept me watching, which is important. It wasn't myself a great episode, but it did a good job setting up the Doctor. The threat was not super well done, but it was, like, decent. So, overall, it was a pretty good episode. It's not one that I, like, go back to a lot, but I would still watch it, like, if it was on. I mean, everything from, honestly, even the boring tier up is something that if it was on, I would watch it, and from the watchable tier up is something that I would, like, there could conceivably be a point where I would just go and seek it out and put it on, everything from this tier up, so it doesn't mean I don't like the episode, obviously. I mean, I love this show, so even a bad Doctor Who episode is, like, for me, still better than other things. But yeah, so the next one we have is The End of the World, which I am going to put in boring because the episode, I mean, I didn't hate it, obviously. I mean, like I said, everything from this tier on is something that I would happily watch if it was on. It's just, I don't know, looking back on it when I think of, like, all the other things the show achieved, it's not an episode that, like, really stands out that much to me. Obviously, we do meet the face of Bo, who turns out to also be my favorite character, but not as the face of Bo, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. So, yeah, but it's still a decent episode. I'm also going to put The Unquiet Dead in boring, because while I do really enjoy Gwyneth as a character, the whole thing with the gas monsters and everything doesn't work super well for me, but it is our first journey into the past, and I generally prefer the past episodes to the future ones, so that's fun. But yeah, doing that. Next is Aliens of London, World War III, which I'm putting in bad, because, I mean, these episodes aren't very well liked. We all know, like, they're not great episodes of Doctor Who. They're weird. The Slovene are weird. There is some good stuff in there, mostly with Rose's family, but, like, the episodes aren't exactly, like, top-tier Doctor Who. Now we have Dalek, which is going in good. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this episode. It set up the Daleks. Obviously, the first time I watched it, I didn't know much about the Daleks, and I thought it was really good at explaining what they were, and the Doctor being so afraid of them and everything. Yeah, it was a good episode. Next, we have The Long Game, which is also an episode that I think is bad, at least bad for Doctor Who. This didn't really do it for me. Adam as a character, super annoying. Next, we have Father's Day, which does not go here. I'm just scrolling up. Father's Day is, in my opinion, a fantastic episode of the show. The first one that I really loved and that really, like, got to me emotionally, and yeah, I really love that episode. Next we have The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances, and these episodes are, in my opinion, masterpiece episodes. This two-parter is easily among my very top favorite episodes of this show. I absolutely love these episodes. They introduced my favorite character, Captain Jack, and just were really good. I loved the past episodes. Like I said, I loved the time setting of this. Just really loved it. Easily my favorite of season 1 and my favorite overall, like, among my top 5 favorite stories in the show. Just really love them. Next we have Boomtown, which was watchable. Yeah, the stuff with the Doctor and the alien lady, the Slovene lady, was interesting. The stuff with Rose and Mickey, Rose needs to treat Mickey better, but that whole plot line was interesting. So there was some good stuff in there. Obviously, it had Captain Jack, which is a huge plus to any episode. So yeah, pretty good. Next we have Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways. Scrolling up, these episodes, in my opinion, are good. It was a good season finale, capped it off. Obviously, it would have been nice if the Ninth Doctor had stuck around longer, but there were issues going on there. But it was good to introduce the concept of regeneration. It was really interesting stuff with the Daleks, the game show stuff was fun. The whole story was just really cool. Jack didn't die, which was a relief to me as a Captain Jack lover. So yeah, that's where I'm putting them, and this is my ranking for the entirety of season 1 and the whole of the 9th Doctor's era. So now we're going to move on to the 10th Doctor. Okay, so first up for 10 we have the Christmas Invasion, and I am going to put the Christmas Invasion in watchable. I thought it was a good start to Tennant's run as the Doctor. He is either my favorite or second favorite Doctor. It sort of goes back and forth, but I thought this episode set him and his character up pretty well. The sticker acts are kind of interesting. The stuff with Harriet Jones kind of interesting too, but overall, like, it's definitely not my favorite of the Christmas episodes, and like, I thought it had good elements and some kind of elements. But yeah, good start for David Tennant. Next is New Earth, which is also going in watchable. I definitely thought that this episode had some fun stuff with Lady Cassandra coming back and all of that stuff going on, but it didn't really, like, spark any super big interest for me. Next one we have is Tooth and Claw, which I'm putting in bad. I know this is, like, probably an unpopular opinion. A lot of people really like this episode. I personally just didn't really do it for me. I usually love the past episodes, and I did like the Queen Victoria stuff that happened, but the whole werewolf thing just kind of was weird to me. I didn't really love this episode and found it, like, overall kind of boring. So yeah. Next, we have School Reunion, and School Reunion is going in fantastic because I love this episode. I love Sarah Jane. I love Sarah Jane's spin-off show. Obviously, she didn't have it yet at this point, but yeah, I really love that show. I really love her character. I didn't know who she was when I first saw this episode, but that still made me really care about her and like her. Her dynamic with Rose is great. The way we find out about the Doctor and his relationship with his companions, I love all of that. The villain of this episode is really compelling too, and the way the Doctor is even a little bit tempted by it. Yeah, so that's all really great, and love K9, love Mickey joining the team, just everything about this episode, I really loved it. It was like a near perfect episode of television for me, honestly, like, really great. Yeah, so next up we have The Girl in the Fireplace, and The Girl in the Fireplace is a masterpiece. In my opinion, it is probably my favorite episode of the entirety of Doctor Who. I love this episode, just so good, like the whole historical past thing, the whole fireplace thing, the kind of love story element, and the, like, really sad ending, but just everything. The monsters are creepy, it has some fun things, like riding a horse through a mirror. I love everything in this episode. Like, if there is such thing as a perfect episode of Doctor Who, I think this one is it. Next up, we have the Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel, which, honestly, I am putting in terrible because these episodes just did not do it for me. Like, I enjoyed the Mickey stuff and the stuff with Rose and her parents, and that alternate universe vibe was cool, but the actual, like, Cybermen part just didn't really work. It didn't make a lot of sense. I did not really love these episodes. Next, we have The Idiot's Lantern, which I'm putting in boring because, you know, there was some stuff that was good. The stuff with the kid and his dad that was interesting, and the whole coronation thing was kind of a cool idea, but the whole TV eating your brain, whatever plot, was kind of for me. Then next up, we have The Impossible Planet and the Satan pit. So for me, they're going in bad. Look, I know this is unpopular, people really like them, but for me, the whole overt religion thing just doesn't really do it for me. Not so much a fan of that. And also just, gotta be fully honest, I don't super love Rose. If you saw my companions tier list, you know that. So the stuff that features heavily with Rose, I'm just kind of like, meh. Next up, we have Love and Monsters, which I'm gonna put in boring. I know a lot of people probably put it in bad or even terrible, but I thought the stuff with people connecting to each other, like forming the group, was interesting. I thought the stuff with Jackie was really interesting, so that makes up for the weird villain. Also, the fact that the villain was designed by a kid for a contest is pretty neat, so I can look past the weirdness of it for that. And while it wasn't like a great episode and it wasn't like something I'd like put on really, it's something that I like appreciate for what it is and has some good elements to it. Fear Her, not as much. It's terrible. The only part of it that's good is the conversation about the doctor having been a dad and the fact that there's a cat in there, and really nothing else in that episode really even warrants mentioning, to be honest. Next up, we have Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. Alright, so these ones go in good. I thought this was a pretty good season finale. Daleks and Cyberman, that's fun. Rose getting torn through a parallel universe, less fun. Just a good finale. It had nice resolution to the season and to that arc, and the tortured stuff is interesting. So yeah. And that is the end of season 2. Well, you can't really see it all in one shot anymore, but that's how it goes for season 1 and 2. So now on to season 3. Next up, we have The Runaway Bride, which I am going to put in very good. It is the first episode in this slot, because I don't think it is quite at the level of the ones I have in the fantastic tier, but I think it's a little better than good. It's, it's a very good episode. I really enjoyed it. I love Donna. The next one we have is Smith and Jones, which I think is also very good. I think it might be the best companion introduction episode. Like, I love Martha right off the bat. Martha's also one that a companion I really like, but I just really enjoy their introduction. I think the whole thing with the hospital going to the moon is really fun, and yeah, it's a good time. The next episode we have is the Shakespeare Code, which I am putting in good. I think, it's a good time. Shakespeare's fun in that episode. I love the whole stuff about the power of words, obviously, as a writer. I love all the Harry Potter references as a Harry Potter fan. Especially funny, obviously, since David Tennant was in Harry Potter around the same time this was being filmed. So, all just a good time and an episode that I quite enjoy. Next up, we have Gridlock, which I am also putting in good. I think the whole concept is really interesting with, the cars all being trapped. I love the cat people. I think they're an interesting concept. And obviously we see the face of Bo for the final time, but not really the final time because he's actually Jack. But, yeah, so that's all really interesting, and it's, set up for the finale, and we have that speech where the doctor tells Martha about Gallifrey, and I enjoyed the episode. So, yeah. After that, we have the Daleks Take Manhattan and the Evolution of the Daleks. These episodes are bad. Yeah, I like Tallulah. I think she's cool. I think that whole element of it and, the setting and, the Hooverville stuff is all cool, and the Empire State Building, but the actual, Dalek people things are creepy, and the ending is weird, but it does set up the pretty awesome season 4 finale, so at least it's got that going for it. Yeah, next up we have The Lazarus Experiment, and the main thing I think when watching The Lazarus Experiment is, what am I watching? This goes in bad, because it's weird. It's really weird. I like the stuff with Martha's family, so at least I got that, but yeah, it's a real weird episode. So the next one we have is 42. And 42 is one that I consider boring. It's not something I dislike exactly, but I don't think when I want to watch episode of Doctor Who, I'm going to watch 42. I like Martha's like arc with like becoming a regular TARDIS member, and I like the trivia stuff since I'm a fan of trivia. But there's really not much going on in this episode that I super enjoy. So. Okay, next we have Human Nature and the Family of Blood. I'm putting them in fantastic. I love these episodes. I didn't so much the first time, but on rewatch I gained like a lot of new appreciation for these episodes. Yeah, they're really great. The villain's creepy. The whole thing with the Doctor's arc of being human and falling in love and then having to choose to make the sacrifice, and how even John Smith, who was like barely any, like, only residually had elements of the Doctor, still had that, like, self-sacrificing element. I really love that, and I think Joan is a really interesting character, and I like how Martha takes, like, more center stage in these episodes. So, yeah, those are some good episodes, some real good episodes of Doctor Who. Great stuff. After that, we have, yes, Blink. So, Blink is apparently a lot of people's favorite episode of the whole show. It's not my favorite episode. I mean, episode of the Doctor can't leave my favorite, but I am putting it in very good because I do think it's a really good episode. I do really enjoy Blink, and it is the first episode of Doctor Who that I ever watched, way before I'd seen the show. It does stand well on its own, which is something good to be said for it, and it is like a really well written, like, tight episode. So yeah, I really enjoy Blink. And that's that. After Blink, we have the 3-part finale of this season. It's a weird one because these episodes are all, like, very different in tone, like, all 3 of them, but I'm putting them in watchable because they are all over the place. They have some highs, they have some lows. I thought the Master's death scene was sad. It had more emotional impact than it really deserved to have. But the Utopia, like, that first episode is pretty good and creepy. Like, there's just, these are wild episodes that just go up and down and up and down. So I'm just, like, sort of putting them here. And yeah. So that's the end of season 3. And this is my ranking of all of seasons 1 through 3, and now we are on to season 4. First thing is we have the Voyage of the Damned. Yeah, so I don't actually know really what the popular, like, stance is on this episode, but I quite liked it, so I am putting it in very good, right up there with the last Christmas special, because, you know, I thought it was very good, and I like Astrid as a character, and that's all some fun stuff that's going on. It was a good episode. Not sure what else there's to say, really. Yeah, so next up, we have Partners in Crime, which is when we get Donna back, which is a huge plus, because I love Donna, so any episode where we get her back is, you know, a very good episode. So I am putting this also in very good. Again, love Donna. She's great. Okay, so next up is Fires of Pompeii. I think I like this one more than a lot of other people, but I think it's a fantastic episode. I love the past episodes, like I said. I really like the volcano stuff, and the seer stuff is all really interesting, and how, like, Donna convinces the Doctor to save someone, which has even more resonance because it comes back in Capaldi's run, when he's like, I'm the Doctor and I save people, and that's all really cool, so that just makes it even cooler, really. So, and also we get an early look at Capaldi and Karen Gillan, so that's fun stuff. And yeah, I really love this episode. I know other people maybe don't. Next thing we have is the Planet of the Ood. Now, this episode I'm putting in very good. I don't think it's quite as good as Fires of Pompeii, but I really enjoyed this episode. I think it's great. I mean, season 4 really is a lot of hits for me, and you'll see that, but this is one of them. I really enjoy it. I think the whole Ood Rebellion stuff is all really interesting, and love Donna's, like, emotional arc and stuff in it. So yeah, great stuff. Love the Planet of the Ood. The next one we have is the Suntaran Stratagem and the Poison Sky. So what's really great about this episode is we got Martha back, and I love Martha, so that's fun. Anyway, I think these episodes are good. will be in good shortly. So yeah, I really enjoyed them. Like I said, getting Martha back was great. Having the interactions between Donna and Martha. Also, the stuff with Donna and her family that happened in this episode is good. I also just thought the Centaurans were interesting, and like their whole plan was pretty interesting. That was all good stuff. We got to see more unit stuff. David Tennant makes an "Are you my mummy" joke, which is fun. And yeah, just generally quite like these episodes. Next up, we have The Doctor's Daughter, which I know is an episode that a lot of people maybe don't like, but for me, it is good. I enjoyed this episode. I like Jenny. I like the whole concept of the war that's only been going on a week. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, and I enjoyed watching this episode. It's a good one for me. After that, we have The Unicorn and the Wasp. So, fun story about The Unicorn and the Wasp. The first time I saw this episode, I really did not like it, but on rewatch, I think it's fun, and, like, the murder mystery aspect is pretty cool. So, yeah, that's cool. I like it. It's a watchable episode. I'd, like, happily put it on. Like I said, that's basically what watchable means. Yeah, next up we have Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead, and these episodes, well, these are definitely fantastic episodes for me, if I can actually get them up there. Yeah. So, I love these episodes. I love River. River is my favorite character after Jack, and, I just think the whole concept of the library is real cool. And everything that happened in this episode is creepy and interesting. The Vashta Nerada are probably the scariest Doctor Who monster. Like, probably the only monster in all of Doctor Who that genuinely terrify me to think about. Like, so creepy. Love libraries, obviously. Like, I'm a reader, so that's fun. I really love almost everything about this episode. It's just so great. And even everyone sort of gets saved at the end, and River's Data Ghost even gets to come back later, so that's nice. But yeah, I really, really enjoy those episodes. Next up, we have Midnight. Okay, so, Midnight. Midnight is an episode that is widely loved, but I am not one of the people who loves it. I find it boring. See, this one really hinges on being creeped out by the monster, and a lot of people think this is, like, the scariest monster in all of Doctor Who. I'm not even remotely scared by it at all, so that really, like, there's not much in the rest of the episode to really make it land. Like, it really relies on you finding that monster scary, and I understand why people find it scary. It just personally has never done it for me, so that makes the episode kind of fall flat. I mean, I do like the character interactions and stuff, and they comment on how humanity are the real monsters, which, let's be real, I know that already. Humanity are just, we suck. But yeah, the episode doesn't super do it for me. Next up, we have Turn Left, and Turn Left is an episode that I think is a masterpiece. Yeah, I love this episode. I think it is done so well. It's so creepy, and seeing what a world would be like without the Doctor in it is just, like, it's pretty bleak, but it's, like, very well done, and it gets really creepy at the end, and Donna gets to shine, and I love this episode a lot. Next one is The Stolen Earth and Journey's End, which are complicated and very overstuffed episodes, but ultimately, I feel like I put them in very good just because they are so much fun to watch. Like, just seeing everybody team up, it's like watching an Avengers movie. Like, it's pretty awesome seeing everyone, like, work together like that, and them all flying the TARDIS together. Like, does it make a lot of sense? No, not really, but I love it anyway, so I have to put it up here. I don't love what the Doctor did to Donna at the end. I understand it was necessary. It's very sad, but yeah, so that's where I'm putting that. Like I said, it has flaws as an episode, but I do think a lot of the stuff with Davros, like talking to the Doctor, is all interesting, and seeing everyone team up is just so delightful. So yeah, and this is my ranking of the first 4 seasons of the show, and now we're just gonna go into the David Tennant specials. So first up of those is The Next Doctor. I think The Next Doctor is a pretty fun episode overall, and I am going to put it in watchable because I think it has some cool elements. I think Jackson is a pretty interesting character, the Cyberman, and never really done it for me. But yeah, the stuff is overall, I enjoyed it fine. Planet of the Dead is boring. It's not, I don't dislike it the way some people do, and I think Lady Christina is actually kind of cool, but the episode was So, yeah. Then we have Waters of Mars, which the first time I watched Waters of Mars, I did not get why people liked it so much, but upon rewatch, I definitely do get it, so I'm putting it in very good. I think the whole Doctor, going kind of dark thing is real creepy and scary, and the whole, the villain is scary, and the whole element of, fixed points is, it's all really interesting stuff to think about, and it's a good episode. Then we have The End of Time. Now, this is a weird one because, it's such an important episode of the show, and, so much, important stuff happens in the regeneration, obviously, but it's also, kind of a mess, so I was like, how do you balance that out? Ultimately, I balanced that out by putting them in good. I think that as far as, an ending for Tennant goes, it's a good ending. I love Wilf, I love what happens there, the Master is a good villain. I think the whole stuff of Gallifrey coming back is really fascinating. The Doctor, finally fighting the thing that makes him wield a weapon because it's just so scary. And yeah, and I mean, I love him going back and seeing everyone in the regeneration scene, and it's a good ending to the whole run of the show. And yeah, so this is my ranking of all the episodes in the Russell T Davies era of Doctor Who. I will do the Stephen Moffat era in another video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Obviously, let me know your thoughts on all of the episodes down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that. And I will see you tomorrow with another video. Bye!